What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 21 of Horror Corridor, and I'm here with Lyrizone. What's up, man?
What's good, dude? How are you?
I'm great. Nice to see you tonight.
Nice to see you too, man.
Loving the fucking mask.
Appreciate you.
Do you want to introduce yourself real quick to everyone that doesn't know who you are yet?
Okay. Hey, everybody. It's your boy Lyrizone, a horrorcore slash new metal slash metal rapper of Vancouver, Washington. If you pretty much are in the metal scene, you probably see me at a show somewhere. Good to see you guys. Essentially, I'm pretty much a walking horror movie in audio form. Uh, I pretty much been talking to the homie for a little bit before this, give him a little breakdown of everything. And yeah, I'm good to see you guys. I'm looking forward to talking about some stuff coming up and projects before and after.
Hell
So,
yeah, man. All right. Well, thanks a lot for coming on. You were another one of the artists that hit me up. Check out my music. I'd love to be on your show. And I'll be like, well, let me look into you and I'll get around to you when I get a chance. And in that time, I really got into your music. Like the few songs that you do have so far have been really good, really professional. And yeah, I kind of wanted to get into that a little bit about how the professional sound that you have from the beginning, it sounds like, I don't know, really big studio sound. How do you get that sound? And how have you
um,
always had a consistent sound?
I haven't actually. This is actually a pretty funny story, which I've said a couple times. The first time was when I first started in South Carolina in Somerville. I was completely the polar opposite of the entity and artist that you see currently in front of you. I was more of the boom bap, very, very early 80s hip hop cadence type of rapper. More punchline effective, not much on the actual storyline, but just spinning the hardest 16 that I can. Um, as time went on, my father included, he used to always bring me in the shed, listen to music, and he'd say, "Hey, listen to this band." I'm like, I don't really want to. He's like, "No, kick your ass in here. Listen to this band." I'm like, "Okay, fine." Then he was showing like Led Zepp, then Iron Maiden, and then we Megadeth, you name it. And then he started like showing old classic rock, which I don't know if we consider them old classic because I feel like that's a really archaic term to call rock. Just say old classic. But then he started showing me Narwhal, and then we started War the Interviewer. Then he showed me War, and then we started going to Anthrax to Alice Cooper, and then Alice Cooper is where I got hooked as far as the actual horror, because Alice Cooper has a lot of discography as far as him actually being the more darker side of things. Not like School is Out for the Summer, but more like there was a single, I can't remember the tape, not top of my head, but essentially it's about this arachnid mother. And essentially it's just like a whole dark spin on the Halloween theme.
Hmm.
And then I started getting more infatuated toward horror. And then I said, okay, so I really like this. So I started focusing on more creative writing back in high school, writing short stories, and then implementing into my song structures and finding different ways of putting horror into it. And then slowly but surely, I just came out here and I was like, okay, so I had a single, which was The Intrusion. That originally was a hip hop one. It had Mars, Gruesome, me, Dubs. And I was like, okay, this is really, really good as far as the hip hop side. And I think you can still find it on SoundCloud through Greenlight Studios' page. Um, but that's a really, really hard find. If you find that, that's like art. That's gonna be one of the rare ones.
Okay.
Um, but then we're working on it. He's like, Joe, let me track some live guitars to this part because when he did, I was like, okay, that sounds good. And then we listened to Mars. I'm like, I want everybody's verse to be different. So would you mind just do something really quick on the drums as far as Mars's part? And that's when we did double pedal and it got really, really intense.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, that's fucking nasty.
Hmm.
And he's like, yeah, man. Let's keep on doing this if you want to. I was like, dude, like that's the something in the scene I haven't seen for a very long time. Like you'll see in Sprouts, like you'll see Loki do one, and then
Twisted.
um you'll see Twisted, Bloodshot,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But I haven't seen a actual metal band horrorcore artist. And I was like, I'm good. To make that my thing. And then slowly but surely, then I started saying that's the one thing I don't want to lose is when I told him I was like, I don't want to lose the song structure or the storytelling. Like
Yeah.
there's rock bands, but I want to make sure there's an actual story with it. And
Yeah.
that's where we're at is we're just making stories out of this shit. So
Yeah. And your Carvin Diner song also had a metal mix, right?
yes, sir. There was a hip hop version that was done. We had actually two because it was supposed to be an actual collaboration part where I had one version for my album, and one version for hunters. And we were like, you know what? We can't hold this shit much longer. Let's just drop it out there. And so I did the rock version because that's my niche, and he did the hip hop one.
Oh,
And
cool.
it's really, really cool because if you listen to both back and forth, we actually did different intros per track, where
Hmm.
you have me being in the back, being the cook, and then you have him coming into the diner. So it's a cool continuity piece. We listen to both. They both sound the same in certain ways, but the intros are completely gutted and brand new.
Oh, that's great. That's a cool
Oh
way to
yeah.
do it. That's an interesting way to do like collab singles too.
Oh
Is to
yeah.
like have a different version for each one that kind of reflects on their sound.
Yeah, because it makes you feel like, okay, I listened to this one version. Let me listen to the other one. Then you can see kind of like it makes cool little Easter eggs. Like when you hear the plates break in my part, I actually had to stay here because we were snowed in. And I went to the kitchen, got some plates, crashed them next to the microphone, proximity effect. And we created that Foley sound to where it sounded like plates were breaking in the kitchen. And I was like, dude, let me shoot stuff all over to you, put in the mix, and then add that toward your part, and I'll keep it and add toward mine. And it was just good for continuity and scene. And for him being the artist that he is, I noticed that he loves doing that stuff too. He loves doing the little small details that really make the scene.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you were doing just standard boom bap style
Yes, sir.
hip hop before the horrorcore. How long were you doing that for before you crossed over?
Oh man. I want to say comfortably I started metal side 2017. I want to say 2012 to 2017 is when I was just doing regular hip hop.
Regular
And
hip
that
hop.
was kind of like with the grind mode ciphers. When I went to the one at Hilton Head, I went to a couple clubs out in Myrtle Beach. Um, Basically get with everybody I can as far as, hey, so you got a studio, we'll drop some time in as far as sessions, like pay you, let's record something. And then slowly but surely it was a good period of time. And I don't regret it because it's actually really, really fun. And I got to meet a lot of people that still rock with me to this day, even though the style changed, which was really fucking awesome. Because I kind of figured when I left that side, I would lose some people on the way. Because like, oh, that's not really my side. But no, they still rock with me. And it's the bonding in the very beginning that kept them there.
That's cool.
So yeah, man, it's just been a really, really long and very, very fun journey.
And where were you originally from before you moved to Washington?
Somerville, South Carolina.
Okay, cool. Because I did notice a little bit of accent when you said horror a
Oh
few
yeah.
times. I was like, okay, he's definitely from the
Yeah,
other side of the
saw the
country.
draw.
That's awesome.
It
That's
didn't really
cool.
help. I came back like what 3 weeks ago, and I came back from South Carolina, being gone for a month. I'm like, okay, the draw is back. Damn it,
Yeah.
can't lose it.
Yep. Our other guests that we had a couple episodes ago, Crackle Capone from North Carolina, South Carolina. He has quite a distinct accent, and it comes out in his music. Do you think yours comes out in your music at all?
Not, I try to hide it, dude.
Oh, really?
I try
Do you
like it's
mask it
really
on purpose ever?
not really. It's actually funny because I think me and Bloodshot were talking about this last week, and he was like telling me how like our high pitches, as far as our vocal styles, are distinct in the game. Like that's where mine shines because there's a lot of very gritty vocals and
Hmm.
artists in the scene, but I want to have that high note, but that uncomfortability type nature to where you don't know what the fuck he's gonna say when he says it, and
Yeah.
uh, and that's where it kind of shines. But yeah, so far I don't think I can hear it very well, but then again, I try very hard to get myself out of my head and just record.
Yeah.
So easier said than done.
Oh, that's cool. Do you ever produce any of your own beats when you're doing this stuff, or do you sit down with a producer?
It's actually funny, because there's been multiple takes to where I've actually had like fond memories where I had Climate Beats or Nerds Audio right now. I had sent him a production say, hey, so this is the vocal I did for a previous song, and I just didn't like the beat toward the end and want to do something different. Let me just send you the vocals over there. It's completely mixed down. Just take it and run with it. And he knocked it out and sent it over, and then we add our touches because who doesn't actually add more work to the mix when they're done? Um, so between that, my first beat got started about 4 months ago, and I was like, I don't know if I like this. He's like, "Why?" I was like, I like the idea of it,
Hmm.
but I am the more storyteller slash writer. Like, I'll write some fucked up stories, but the production, I just don't have the ear for that. And
Yeah.
he's like, well, and it's funny because when I go in the studio, Josh's like, you know what? I gotta tell you something. You're not a guitar player slash whole vocalist. but I have heard you record and do styles in a layer that I heard other metal bands do and they can't pull it off. And I'm like, makes me feel good then. Makes me feel a little bit like higher up there that I can actually like, hey, so I can actually sing well when I
Yeah,
try.
yeah. No,
But
that is one thing about you is you do have a studio voice for sure. It's you have a character. You sound like a character when you rap.
oh
Um,
dude, it's monotonous.
it
Back to the
sounds to
it's
me
cra-
like you have a song with Kung Fu Vampire, and
yes,
you match really well up with him because you guys both hit those
right.
higher end. Who's the other guy on it? Twisted Insane, right?
Twisted Insane, yes.
Yeah, so you just had to get like the fastest spitter ever on the end of it.
Oh, dude, but it was really funny because I actually hit him up like 3 months after because he was like, "Hey, just let you know, I think it was Sycopotamus. He had the song Parasite. It's like, it's funny that you have me on Parasite because I have a song called Parasite too. I'm like, hey, good minds think alike." So, but yeah, I just wanted to work with him for the longest time. I'm gonna probably do it again on this next album because his work ethic was there, 24-hour turnaround time, like quality was there. I didn't have to worry about anything as far as touch ups, and that's my main thing is that, hey, if especially when I sing stuff as far as clients, is that I make sure they don't have to worry about my breathings, no gaps as far as the errors, make sure everything's level correctly. There's no off timings. That you're starting from zero. You're not starting with randomly just audio everywhere. You know where you're starting, you know where you end. And it's just the little things that, especially Kung Fu Vampire, Dubs, Twist Insane, all of them have great quality as far as recordings, and they actually know how to send it off to the client, which is always great.
Nice. So, you do have a lot of collabs with other artists. Do you like that collabing with artists better than you like doing solo songs?
Not really, to extent now, because now before I was just collaborating to have fun and put on my bucket list, and
Hmm.
now like I've been doing the Why Can't I? I actually put Tina on that because I wanted to have her on the bridge because I was planning to have a music video for that one. But originally we had a one where it was just me doing an extra layer, and I
Hmm.
put the highs on top of that one, so it sounded more harmonic. But I think it would have been less impactful with her actual harmony.
No,
But
It worked well with her because you used her more like almost like an instrument. You know what I mean?
right,
Rather than
right.
like yeah. So it worked well.
But I think like for like the system, stuff like that, for the memories, like I think I can pretty much just at this point focus on my LP just being me. I'm gonna have here and there like I feel for this LP coming up, which we first titled it Pleasant Defect, which is gonna be a play on the system. And I was like, okay, now the artist brain is picking up because now I want to do something different. So great. So then we started saying, hey man, so now I have this new song Air coming out. I was like, hey, so I want to do something different for this song. He's like, what do you think? I'm like, well, for Lyrizone, which I'm a lot of people think what they want as far as the character, but my character changes throughout time and it gets in different situations and then it gets kind of contorted as far as reality. And I was like, hey, so I'm a huge ICP fan, love Magic Ninja Entertainment, love them both. And I was like, I want to do something in homage, but I want to do something more Lyrizone style. So I started looking up, hey, is there anything in the scene as far as tarot card readings, as far as a haunted saloon? Has there been any context whatsoever as far as scenes? And I haven't seen anybody release a song just like that on that context. So I was like, okay, so let's make a song where I'm literally a tarot card reader. I'm in the back. We're during the Dark Ages. I had to do so much history for this song, dude. It's ridiculous. Like
Hmm.
even the cards I have now, tarot cards. If you look on the animation video that's coming out, you're gonna see one of the cards floating around the background.
I think
And
I've
then I
seen
have
the art for that. Is that the one that's kind of like the Ed Repka style, like
yes.
with all the people like panicking and
Oh
wearing a
yeah,
robe? Yeah.
dude. Dude, when you hear the song, you're gonna hear the reference to that part because we actually have, I think it's toward that's 2 minute mark. It's after the first chorus. We actually have four different audiences. They have one, which you see the female on the ground crying. You have that audience going on. You have the fight that's going on the right side. You got the person to the very back talking about the actual like being stolen from whatever. And we have pretty much all of them going at the same time. And I had to do different voices as if we're doing that shit. So
Hmm.
I had to manipulate the female vocal. I had to do the over gritty one. I had to do like this and sound like like you're stubborn and arrogant. And I had to like do all these different vocals, but then as it's closing, it gets very, very in a proximity effect to where it makes your ears kind of like uncomfortable. So we are going for like the brown noise and stuff like that,
Mm.
and the subtle undertones. And just stuff like that I think was pretty cool to add to this mix. So I was like, well, let's go ahead and add this to the project too, and just make a whole fucking storyline.
That's
So
dope.
yeah, dude, I just love small details like that. It's fucking awesome.
So you're gonna expand that single into the whole LP.
Yes, sir.
Nice. So that's one thing I wanted to bring up with you. You were talking about cutting back on collabs. When I heard "Sweet Relief," which is like your EP that came out in 2019, I was like, I just want to hear more of this guy. Like, there's all these
Right.
collabs, and then there's these
Right.
like there's interludes and stuff, and I'm like, I want to hear more of this guy. And then yeah, you
Right.
have the singles, "Why Can't I" and "In the System," which are great because that's
Right.
just you going hard like all by yourself. Um, so that's really exciting to hear that you're going to do that. But collabs are always awesome for sure, and like the
They
ones
are.
the ones you found really match up with your sound because you got like, for example, Mars is very high pitched and like
Right.
animated, and same with Twisted Insane and Kung Fu Vampire. So yeah, it
Yeah,
fits.
that's always the fun part of it. Like just watching me, my Josh, we're like, hey man, so how are we gonna make this work? He's like, hey man, it's like, "Oh, we got three different voices, three different tones, and we got me starting off, and it almost had like that twisted layering as far as the Jane Madrox and the vocal template, like the layering as far as vocals. I'm like, okay, so you got the very, very mid range, but it's sort of to the highs, but it's not. You got Kung Fu coming in with a very, very high, and then you have twisted like low as possible. So it's like it's all about how you layer the vocal and how you make the section as far as the verses, which that's the one thing as far as production I love Josh doing is that he always finds a way to make each verse different and nobody sounds the same. So
That's
that
cool.
way, that's way, regardless if you don't feel the verse was good, like there's been verses where I'm like, I got destroyed. But then when I listen to it, I'm like, no, not really. The production hit. And then I'm listening to it, I'm like, no, I like this verse now. Fuck what was I saying? I did great.
Yeah,
It's always in the back of your head, always want to do better than the last verse you did. So that's
yeah,
just one of those things.
that could be good and that could be bad.
Oh yeah.
Depending on if you get hung up on things.
Oh yeah. We never want to be too cocky either, because when you start getting too big headed, that's when someone like takes you under your freaking feet and pulls you up and say, hey, so you're not as good as you thought you were, so get better. And that's where I constantly always work harder than I was yesterday.
So what are some punk and hardcore and metal bands that you're into right now?
There's been a couple. Actually, one of Josh's clients came through, and Mike Moldy and the Shenanigans. I've listened to them. They're punk. They're awesome. I mostly think Portland rock. But as far as punk scene, dude, like if we're gonna discuss punk, let's not put MGK here. Because I've heard some folks say they don't like MGK, and I've already said, hey, so everybody says the thing. I mean, unfortunately, I've had many times where it's on my playlist. I'm like, okay, no, 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 please don't.
That's not it's not punk though.
I'm saying, but, but most of my people that we were saying, hey, look, that new MGK was like, well, yeah, it's not like Lace Up or like Edge of Destruction, but I mean, like, yeah, it's punk. I'm like, it's pop, it's not.
Yeah,
This is definitely industry pop.
I
But as
just
far as
people
punk,
haven't heard that Green Day style pop punk in a while, so like I don't know. He's like kind of bringing it back, I guess. But
yeah, it's also
it's
to the
just
more, it's really, really weird because it's in a weird space to where you have to respect the work, but also at the same point too is that it didn't really, I don't know.
hey,
It's
people
so
like it. It's on the Tony Hawk game too. So fuck
real
what I
shit.
say. Yeah.
Oh damn. I don't know. I think what was it? Goldfinger or Superman? That was my shit back in the Tony Hawk days.
Oh yeah, dude. That soundtrack
Oh,
was fucking awesome. Primus, Suicidal Tendencies,
oh, dude,
so
good old
good.
days.
Yeah.
Between
Speaking
that
of
and go
suicidal
ahead.
tendencies, though, I definitely hear some of that in your music. Like
Suicidal Tendencies? Yeah, okay,
yeah, with like the bass riffs and like I don't know. I definitely pick up on some Iron Maiden here and there.
okay.
What are some metal bands that you would say influence your sound?
Well, I will probably. I wanted to do like more Slipknot. I want to try that. People Equal Shit was my like joint back in the day. Um,
Hmm. Yeah, man.
I,
Slipknot's
I
legendary.
yeah, that's one of my favorite albums of all time, man. Most folks don't. They just like before I forget Dead Memories, the song with Dead Memories is on. I can't remember what album it was on, but yeah, dude. Mostly as far as that goes, I try to keep my ears. This is gonna sound really weird, but I listen to more opera now than ever. I
Hmm.
don't know why. I don't know why. It goes back to our main conversation about as far as artists in the scene is like I just like what I like. I get props, but I also stay in my lane and just keep my creative juices where they need to be.
Hmm.
Because I don't know. I think it's the opera. Like even with the short film Dead Focus, I had him put like some opera in the background just faintly. I'm like, dude, I don't know why. It's creepy to me. I love it
Yeah,
because like some notes they just like the fuck is that? And
sure. I
then
mean, there's a lot of emotion there, so it could be, you
oh
know,
yeah, dude.
yeah,
And didn't really help. I fell asleep too as a kid. I could not fall asleep without playing opera at nighttime. And I was like,
yeah.
okay. And then I woke up, opera's playing. I'm like, okay, this is weird. Oh, I'm like, okay.
I've never been an opera or classical guy. My mom always was, and it's just it's never something I can really get into. But props to you for that, though. That's cool. I think that's definitely gonna help you with your vocal range too, and the
Oh,
power you put
dude.
behind your vocals and
If
stuff.
you listen to Nowhere to Hide in the very beginning, that's where we he was a Calypso, the plugin, and we just actually I was like, dude, I want some opera in the very beginning. It's like, really? I'm like, yeah. I don't want anything like Dream Theater-ish, but give me something like that. So he started plucking out the keys and find certain notes, B minor. I was like, I like this part. It's like, oh, I'm like, okay, that works. He's like, okay, well, if you like it, then I like it. Then we're good. But yeah, it's just. But as far as the punk thing, man, um, I guess I don't really have a particular actual like artist. I enjoy. My fiance loves Green Day. Like you can recite like every freaking day, at least one Day song is coming up. Like I got shit yesterday for like what was it Boulevard of Dreams or something like that?
All of
Something
our broken
Boulevard.
dreams, yeah.
Thank you. And like I turned it off to put something else on. She's like,
Oh,
really? And I was like, Jesus Christ. But
hey,
yeah,
I
dude.
did I do like I think it's Kerplunk and Dookie and Nimrod. Those are the three albums from them I liked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like
Um,
she's an old school fan. Like she was talking about like the tub something, like Garage Band tub or some Fox something band before he got into Green Day.
huh.
She knew about that. I was like, okay.
She's a hardcore fan. Cool.
Oh, dude. Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
That Metallica.
Nice. You a Metallica fan?
I am.
Cool.
No Saint Anger though.
Yeah,
I tried.
that's a rough
I
one.
it's see that's the thing though is that I listen to everything with a kind ear, even though I might not like it. I
Yeah.
understand there's certain creative process with it. There's no bad album unless you're talking about like Kid Rock all summer long. Then you talk about the laziest guitars ever. But anyway, back to a side story. So we started listening to Metallica. My favorite one is probably Death Magnetic.
Hmm.
It's probably mine.
That was a good one actually. That was like when they came back and were like, "Hey, we're not actually pussies. Like, check this out."
Right.
And it was pretty good. I have to go with the older stuff though. Like, I'm probably
Like the Black Album, maybe?
Black Album's pretty good, but I would probably say like Justice for All or Master of Puppets. Master of
Ride the
Puppets,
Lightning.
yeah, that was good
Okay.
too. But I had Master of Puppets on tape. I listened to that on the bus to school all the time. It was like
Hell
so
yeah.
addictive. My friend at the skate park gave it to me. It's like so it's crazy that that song is making such a big comeback now too, because of
Yeah.
Stranger Things and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, now
What do you think about that
everyone
show?
knows
You
it.
like the show or not really? I heard some
No,
mixed reviews. Most people don't like the show.
of Stranger Things.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. I recognize that it's great for the people that do love it. It's like the best thing ever, but
Right.
I just feel like I'm just too jaded. But I don't want to
Right.
shit all over people's fun either, so I'm not going to like talk crap about it. But
Right. Well,
it's
it's more of a
just
niche thing because I think
yeah,
I watch it for more of like I see like certain Easter eggs. Like you'll see a lot of The Shining. You'll see like what was one I just caught the other day because we're watching it right now. I like right now between that one and Lock and Key. Lock and Key is my shit because I haven't seen something like that in a while. Like
uh,
every single key like has a certain purpose. I'm like, okay, I fuck with it.
never heard of that one. But yeah, it's actually the Easter eggs I don't like. To me, I feel like they pay too much.
Oh,
I feel like they pay too much homage in that. Like they're always.
gotcha.
I feel like that show's always paying tribute. But I only watched the first two seasons. Um,
Gotcha.
so I don't know.
Well, you wouldn't like Midsummer then, because Midsummer had a lot of like Easter eggs, and you were like, okay, I fucking seen that the same poster in The Shining as far as the hallway. You see that on the countertop. I'm like,
Oh,
okay,
Midsummer.
Yeah.
Oh, I did like that. I like that movie. That was a good one.
One of the
I love
go ahead.
Ari Aster.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
Did you enjoy the cult idea as far as like this like distinguished idea? Because it first started off with it being more of a cult,
hmm
which I was trying to discuss in the last one. That it had like certain cool pieces where it actually had uh the birth to like the process of someone like killing someone off mentally. It was just I think it was a good movie. Most people were shitting on it just to shit on it, which those folks I don't
yeah,
really understand.
yeah. I think people I could see why it wouldn't be for a lot of people, but it's something that I thought about a lot after I watched it, and to me those are important movies that make you think. Nope was
Right.
another one of those, and like I walked into Nope thinking I wasn't gonna like it that much because I don't know, I don't know. I just didn't think I was gonna like it that much, and I ended up loving it because I couldn't stop thinking about it afterwards. So
Gotcha.
yeah, if a movie has that effect on me, I have to say it at least did its job. So
What about the invitation? Have you seen that as far
yeah,
as the trailer? What do you think about that one?
I thought it was too dry, personally.
Gotcha.
I thought it felt like too many other cult movies, and to me it felt like even though it didn't take place or it wasn't made during COVID, it felt like one of those movies that was made during COVID where it's just a bunch of people sitting around in one room talking. You know what I mean? And then
Okay,
like
if I
there's
see one mask, I'm gonna say, "Hey, dude, did you call it?"
yeah,
Yeah, I called it.
pretty much.
That's funny as hell.
The ending was cool though. I did like the ending. I'm not going to give anything away, but like that was a cool little twist
Little
to put on
twist.
the end. But like yeah, overall I just sometimes like I don't care if there's characters I dislike, but like when there's every character is grating on
Right.
me and you have to just tolerate them for that long. That's how I felt about that movie.
Okay, so I haven't watched it between like as shocked as the ending as The Mist or the Sinister films.
hmm
How shocked is the ending gonna be? Because The Mist was pretty fucked up toward the end. Like,
Like how
us,
shocking is the ending for The Invitation?
yeah,
Less
not
than The
really.
Mist.
Okay,
Yeah,
because The Mist was pretty fucked up for its time period.
yeah. The Mist is that's pretty hardcore stuff. I don't know. Some people don't like. Some people don't like. I'll just say it now. Some people don't like harm against children in movies. So,
Right,
but I won't say exactly what it is. But
right,
uh,
definitely.
yeah, I love that movie. The Mist is great. That's one of the best modern Stephen King movies. I think it gets overlooked a lot, especially with all the It movies. Which
Yeah,
I wasn't a fan of the new It's. I like the old It though. But I don't know. To me, it was a CGI problem. I thought there was just a lot of CGI and um,
gotcha.
the whole design. And then they just got like that movie got really popularized to death too. Like
Oh
it was
yeah.
just everywhere. So I got kind of tired of it. But maybe I'll return to the new It movie like in a couple of years and see what I think of it.
What about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
I
New
like
one.
the new Netflix one. I did like. I haven't liked a Texas Chainsaw. Oh, I did like that one that came out a few years ago that was just called Leatherface.
Okay.
Wait, I think that's what it's called. Yeah, it was the one where the kids escape the mental hospital, and
Okay.
the whole time you're thinking that the chubby kid is gonna be
Yeah.
Bubba, but at the end you find out it's another dude. But yeah, that one was good. A lot of people hated that one because it wasn't Texas Chainsaw enough for them, but I thought it was a new twist on it. But
Right.
before that, I hated all those Platinum Dunes ones, all the Michael Bay ones, like the Texas Chainsaw remake from like '05, I think, all the way up to like whatever New Beginning, whatever. Those ones are just rough for me. I can't watch them.
Gotcha.
Yeah. What do you think of the Michael Bay Platinum Dunes?
Pretty good.
You like those
I
ones?
the one that just came out, I was not a fan of
Oh,
at
okay.
all.
So we're like
Um,
reversed on our Leatherface movies.
yeah, because the problem is that I've seen a lot of like discussing with Eliana. I was pretty much telling pretty much everyone's like, okay, so I like the movie for what it's trying to do. I was like, especially if the new Jeepers Creepers are got the original plot and have the new Jeepers Creepers have a brand new actual like storyline. I'm fine by diversity doing the different chain stuff. I love that because you can only run the same script 100 times before things get stale.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's like plot points to where, like I mentioned last time, holding the chick up with a chainsaw for like 10, 15 seconds and she's like flopping and then she drops and then she comes back 15 minutes later to shoot you. I'm like, okay, first off,
Was that
how?
Sally?
Yeah, did you? Yeah. Like,
Yeah,
did
I
did
was
you eat a
not.
magic mushroom? Did you eat a magic mushroom to just like get back on Mario style? Like, how did you do
I
this? Like,
wasn't on board with the whole Sally thing. I thought that was the only part of the movie I didn't like, is that they tried to tie her back in.
yeah, and it's
Um,
like it overkilled.
yeah, it
So
was the same shit as like the new Halloween movies. They were trying to do
yeah.
that same thing. It's just unnecessary.
Oh, dude, don't get me started on that. We saw that in the movie theaters. I was like, dude, why is she on the gurney? Like, is it how they could kill her in the freaking the hospital? In the hospital scene, though, I get the like whole idea. Pretty much town going against Michael now. Everyone's self-aware.
Oh,
Everyone knows
I
what's going
love
on.
those movies. I love those
But
ones. Are you
well,
talking
my
about
bad.
Halloween Kills?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that one.
What about the new one? New one should come out very shortly too, and I'm looking forward to it. But
Oh,
they
I
said,
don't
oh,
know,
he's
man.
gonna die. I'm like, I don't know. I don't think he's gonna die. I
That
think it's gonna leave on a cliffhanger. But yeah,
trailer was weird. It showed, all it really showed was the fight between Lori and Michael. So it kind of makes me think that that's going to be the first 10 minutes, and the rest of the movie is going to be a surprise, because
I hope so.
we've already seen them fighting for two movies. Like,
Right?
there's no way. And it's not a very good advertisement, honestly, because it's just like it's showing us more of the same. But what I think is, I think they're trying to hide some stuff, because I think I'm just hoping that we can get surprised by this new one.
Right. Same.
I hope they like tie it off like in a really,
Good way,
yeah,
and not just like sloppy
make
and
it rewarding
yeah.
instead of, I don't know, more of the
Because
same.
my opinion, I'll close on this one, is that I would rather see a great finale, like epic stories for years to come to tell our kids and next kids, instead of, hey, let's make this person just die a certain way here, but not really die, make five more movies.
Yeah,
Because, I mean, of course, I know box office hits over and over, and people are going to want to see more movies and streamings, but let's go back to the classics to where this movie made the generation, and that this movie was done, and that you essentially like what movie came out in the last like 10 years that's iconic. Um, oh my God.
probably Stephen King's It remake. Honestly,
Yeah.
I mean, if you talk to the younger generations, that's a big deal. That and Stranger Things and stuff.
Well, definitely Stranger Things
Yeah,
because it was
the,
I can't get into that one
I
kid.
think
What's
the
his name?
Demigorgon is like the new Pinhead for kids nowadays.
Oh man,
So
that's how far we have fallen.
it's a gentler world, but it's
Essentially,
also a lot harsher of a world in a lot of ways too. So
your
whatever.
suffering will be legendary even in hell. I'm like, come on, that's a badass line. Come on.
Oh yeah, Jesus
Uh,
wept.
dude,
Um,
I constantly do this like they work and let's go. It's like I'm like, you don't remember the church scene? Okay, I'm the only one. Okay, cool. But
yeah,
yeah, dude.
I love the Hellraiser movies. Like, I even like the bad sequels. Like, better. What I'm gonna say is, like, I like them better than other movies' bad sequels. Like, I'll take the
Right,
Hellraiser sequels over like the Children of the Corn or the Amityville or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
right,
they're at least like watchable, just because they have like Cenobites in them and stuff. I want to see the
right.
like new one though. That looks kind of
Oh,
good.
dude, with the female pinhead.
Yeah, heard it
Yep,
was.
yep.
Yeah, it should be cool. We'll get back into music. I'm sure we'll get back into horror. Obviously, you do a lot of horror podcasting, horror gaming. You do everything horror. So I mean,
I try to, dude.
I'm sure we'll come in and out of like horror movies this whole conversation. Um, but yeah, so you were talking about earlier, your dad influenced your heavy metal sound, and that was through like more classic style bands,
Right,
80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s metal.
right.
Um, when like how old were you when you got into that stuff though?
19?
19. So you were
18,
you into
19?
like hip hop and juggalo stuff before that?
Honestly, I've always had respect for the Juggalo community, but I actually never really been close to being anything close to an actual Juggalo.
Mm.
Which I've always gave respect when it's due because most of my fans, like shout out my boy Thomas, he's pretty much like the original Juggalo in my eyes because he's like pushing 55, I believe, and he's like pretty much up there as far as like
First
knowing from the
generation.
early albums, first generations of the actual ICP albums. Like, hey, so I came in toward like the Tempest and stuff like that, and that's why I started following. Where then he started showing me earlier albums. I'm like, okay, cool, cool, I rock with it. And then as it got like earlier, I'm like, okay, so what's going on here? But okay, the storyline changed, but okay, everybody has a thing. But as far as like the actual community, like most of my fans are Juggalos, and they'll whoop whoop back, and I'll do the same thing. But don't really gather as I should. I've only been to the gathering one time, and that was
Yeah,
like
that's
early.
more than me though.
So I mean, it was a fun experience, and I mean, for what I remember, and this is a very long time ago, kind of foggy even, but
Hmm.
it's mostly just a bunch of folks getting together and just being friends and family, and just spend that time just to get away from the world's chaotic bullshit and just get together and just make the best with a good concert.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. That last gathering looked pretty cool. I saw some footage from it. And kind of wish I was there. So
oh yeah,
maybe I'll try to make it out. I mean, like ICP doesn't got a lot of years left on them, so
oh yeah, definitely with
um,
the lung thing. I think it was the heart or was it lungs? I don't
I
remember.
think it's overall. I think it's both, honestly.
Right,
Yeah, I think he's done pretty hard on his body over the
right.
years. I'm sure. So, I mean, dude's been singing about he can only needs Nyquil pills to sleep since for the last 2 decades. So,
Oh man, to hide very much like hide him and Ozzy because I swear to God, like Ozzy's right there with it too. I was like,
yeah,
Ozzy, no.
Ozzy's doing a lot worse. It's not
I
looking too
know.
great. I don't know what they're doing to keep him alive though, because it's on some zombie shit for sure.
Oh no. If we go down the rabbit hole, we'll go after the podcast because
Yeah.
I have some ideas too. But yeah,
Honestly, Black Sabbath was the first what got me into metal. Black
okay.
Sabbath Paranoid. It was the only metal album that my dad owned. I mean, he had some like Led Zeppelin and Grand Funk Railroad and like some of the more little bit heavier stuff. But um, when I heard that Paranoid, my brain opened up. Like there was a new like hearing all these like satanic words and all this evil and like it took my mind to a different place, man. And like there's nothing like that. Hearing that on vinyl for the first time in a stack of my dad's records, being like, I never knew that my dad would own something like this,
Right.
and I was
I
like,
was more indulged on the Sweet Leaf song, and I was like, okay, that took me some fucking weird trips. But
that's
yeah,
that's a that's good shit. Actually, have you heard the Butthole Surfers cover of that?
I have
It's
not.
called Sweat Loaf
Sweat Love.
because they always pair like they change the words always.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a sick fucking stoner jam right there.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, I'm all over the place when it comes to music, man. I love alternative, I love hip hop, I love metal, but I would say horrorcore is 80% of what I listen to. But like over my life, just a huge metalhead.
Right.
What are some other metal bands though? I just want to get into your mind, like what's influencing you.
Well, mine, I've been listening to a lot of actual Rotting Christ for a little bit. Like that's been Norwegian death metal. Listen to a lot of actual more UK stuff. Like, and there's also it's not more metal, but I feel like it is. Is it Zombies? Based out of Germany. I think it's Zombies.
Is it
Um,
Zombie with an I at the end? Oh
I
no,
believe.
that's electronic band. Zombie.
Uh,
They do like
yeah.
synth rock. If you haven't
Uh,
heard them, check them out. They're on Relapse Records. They do like kind of like giallo kind of style music.
gotcha. Yeah, it's the song's called Hellfire, but it's like a lot of fucking songs in Hellfire. It's very generic. But I remember them being on the fucking they had some tracks with Twisted Insane or did one with fucking Twisted. Um I know they appeared a couple of times on Metro Ninja Entertainment, but I don't remember what fucking artist though. Might be Lex. Um but yeah, there's I've been kind of like reaching out for different brands, but as far as metal, I just go back to the classics. Like even now when I say classic, like Twin Temple, that's very like boom, not boom bap, but like
I'm gonna test
boom
your
boom
metal right
music.
now. I'm gonna test your
Okay,
metal. Okay, what
there we
band is
go.
this? Do you know what band that is?
Oh my God, I failed instantly. What is?
No.
Wait, no, the what's the name? No, wait, hold up. So I shared that 2 days ago.
Not. He says not.
Oh God, come on, you. Oh my God, not no Bungles, Mr. Bungle. No, is it?
You're
No, that's not.
close. You're close. Guitar
Oh my
player.
God,
The guitar player is in Mr. Bungle now.
God damn it! I have one job. I have one way to succeed and make myself good in this interview. I failed.
Scott Ian, the guitar player
Okay, okay.
from Stormtroopers of Death and Anthrax. It's from Anthrax. That's their logo guy.
God damn it.
You got some catching up to do. I don't think
A
you're
little
as old
bit.
as me, so
Well, all I know from Anthrax is probably not even Bring the Noise because that was a collaboration. Um, who
check
the fuck sings
check out Among the Living is their best album, I would say. That's like their classic.
okay.
Among the Living, because I don't know if you know, they had another singer in the 90s who was more grunge style, so they kind of changed their musical style. His name was John Bush. I actually like that stuff because I like grunge music, but like most of the metalheads think that's just the bullshit era. But now they're back into the crossover shit, so
Okay, I know you're talking about that because I listened to Madhouse the other day.
it's a madhouse.
Oh, so they say.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. All
Yeah.
right.
That's my
It
favorite, like my
takes a
favorite
couple
band of all
seconds.
time. I go between them and Guar all the time. Like I can't figure out which one of those is my favorite because like Guar's got the theatric, Anthrax has like the fucking circle pit mosh parts, like
Okay,
and the
now speak.
lyrics, you know,
Let's speak of
native singing.
theatrics because we talk about theatrics a lot during this before we start getting to the actual songs. Ghost, are you a fan?
I haven't actually. I listened to them a lot when they first came out because I kind of caught on to like the '80s, the Blue Oyster Cult kind of style,
Right.
and then they changed up their style a little bit. And after that, I didn't follow them after that because I wasn't really too into the like what they changed into, and
Well,
then
like
I just
Pinnacle,
lost track.
was it Pinnacle to the Pit? Was kind of like the first one
It
songs.
would have been like their third album.
Okay.
Yeah, it was very very early in the beginning. I actually interviewed them for Nuclear Blast,
Fuck yeah.
and yeah, you say fuck yeah, but it was an extremely boring interview
Oh,
and an extremely boring show.
was it just like no? Tobias didn't really
Just
say much,
really,
or
really tired and quiet and talking about books very quietly and gently. And like, it's we're in a loud ass tour van, and like there's people outside, and I'm holding the mic like right up to his face, and like they're a mature band for sure, or they were when I saw them, you know. But it's better than Belphegor, who was dropping the N bomb when I went in their tour bus. So.
gotcha. Oh man. War. What about their newest album?
Ugh, it's
Don't
rough.
like.
It's okay. I got to give it a few more spins,
So
but
I tried Blood Libel a couple times because that had potential to me, and then I was like, okay. Um.
is that one of the songs off of it?
Hmm.
Oh, okay.
Um.
Um,
I tried. I'm still trying to get myself. Like, I try to give some albums like a couple weeks to like listen to and breathe a little bit and see if I like something. But I'm trying really hard.
yeah,
It's the same
I
thing with
thought Blood of
Ghost.
the Gods was better. The other Blothar album with Guar,
Right.
I thought that was better than this new one. This new one is like they're trying way too hard on the hair metal, and I thought if you go through Guar's discography, even the Dave Brocky's, obviously the Dave Brocky stuff, the hair metal stuff was always their least entertaining music.
Right.
It was like always like the riffs differentiated the least. There weren't any mosh parts. There weren't any funny parts. It was always just really straightforward. And I feel like
Right.
that's how this new album is. It's just it drives and it's straightforward and it does its job, but there's nothing special on it.
Right. That's where the lack of personality comes in, where they just like try to rush it out instead of taking the
Yeah.
fewer
Where's the
five takes.
There's no comedy. There's no fantasy. You know what I mean? And it's
Right.
tied into some comic book, and I feel like that just makes it feel a lot more commercial and like I don't know.
Right.
So I don't know. I always and you know what? I actually saw them in Portland with Napalm Death last year, and with Blothar singing "Scumdogs of the Universe," their first like major album, is amazing. Like Blothar doing their old shit is fucking great. It's just Blothar doing the shit that he wrote on these new albums is just kind of lukewarm. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Yeah. So if you get a chance to see Guar with the new singer, don't skip them just because Dave Brocky's not there. Like it's worth
Right.
seeing with the new singer. And they did tons of gore stuff, theatrics, blood shooting. Anyway,
Oh yeah.
yeah. So how about live shows? Have you done any as Lyrizone?
Not yet, because we're still. I think after Air comes out, we're pretty much ready to lock in. I don't have one more song to do as far as solo, then I have an actual like good set wise. I think I have like about 7 songs lined up. Because most of them I just want to get myself vocally there, and for a lot of songs, like, hey, so you got the collaboration. Like, I don't want to do collaboration song live. Like, I want to do just songs for just me.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, well, it would seem good to your audience. I'm like, yeah, but I mean, how would be like me? And then you look at Parasite and he has enough notoriety, people actually know the song by word. And then I go on stage and practice Twisted Insane's part. I can do it,
Well,
but it won't sound the same.
usually, I mean, usually like hip hop groups when they
Yeah,
do the collab songs, they only
right.
do their verse and they make
Yeah,
like the basically the CD mix that's playing in the background.
right.
We'll just like go to the next song after that verse is over.
It just slowly transitions. Like, you
So
didn't hear that.
so you're doing like kind of just a collage of all your verses from all the collabs, sort of. I think that would be kind of cool if
I
you
was thinking
like.
about too. I want to just do more solo stuff in Lyrizone because I think at this
Mhm.
point, like even now, like I was telling Josh, like, well, what do you want to do as far as your scenes? I'm like, well, honestly, the microphone. I don't know if I showed you it. I'll probably do it real quick. You might have seen it, you might have not. Where like during a couple of songs, I'll bring the book with me, which has got like the Necronomicon type look,
Oh, nice.
and it's gonna have like the face, and then we have the microphone, which is gonna be like someone's freaking face or whatever. Call him Freddy. No, Freddy Krueger intended, but yeah. Then
Oh,
pretty much
nice.
like
That reminds
her
me of a
face.
Madball.
Yeah, right. So, like my plan right now is I have a couple things I'm looking for as far as like the leather jacket's gonna be one of my go-to appearances. I have the pretty much coat for air I'm gonna bring. It's gonna be like a prop. I just want to make sure that I actually set the vibe as far as being a performer. I want to have a fog machine, which we're actually investing into.
Hmm.
Like, I want it to actually be an event,
Yeah,
um, especially for being an entity. I want to have that theatrical type feeling to where you're being pulled into an experience.
that's
Um,
great, man.
which shout out to Splinter Thorn for doing that in Portland because I went to see him at Dante's and literally like as soon as they hit the stage, smoke came out. All you see is her just step through on some Iron Maiden shit. I was like, yeah,
Yep.
do it. So
Well, that's
yeah,
how
dude.
concrete. That's how concrete does it up in Seattle. He brings his own fog machine and his own lights and his own PA because he wants complete control over his set. And
Fuck yeah.
even though he's like usually an opener for 15 minutes, he wants that 15 minutes to be as horrorcore as possible, and
Right.
he rocks it. So I think
Well,
it's a
most
good idea, man.
openers, yeah, most openers, that's always the good thing too, is that as far as the opener, most people like try to shit on the opener or whatever, and they wait for the opener, they'll wait for the closer. But the opener sets the tone because if you have a good opener and they have the energy, it gets everybody ready to go.
Word.
Because you don't, because I've had went to shows and I've seen it to where I go there and they're like the first opening act's pretty genic, then the mod get to the end and it starts getting like calmer and calmer, and then like you're supposed to be amped as
Yeah.
soon as you get there. Like you don't want to be sleepy and then like halfway you're like, oh fuck, I was at a concert. Oh shit. Like you want to wake up.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, dude. That's what my experience is, just getting things ready. When Josh comes back with Beautiful Skeletons, shout to them. They're touring right now. Uh New album just dropped for them. And
What style of music are they?
they're female fronted because Tina is the lead vocalist. She did the Why Can't I?
Uh huh.
She is actually rock. It's more alternative metal, I
Oh,
want to
cool.
say.
Kind of like
Um,
Hailstorm or something.
yes.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, she's fucking amazing. It's melodic. Um, Anar is pretty fucking good too, guitarist. It's just a great solid product. So when they actually got him right now, as far as Josh doing backup drumming, and I was like, dude, do what you gotta do. We'll take care of Lyris when you get back. This is a one-time opportunity for you. Want to make sure you're good to go. He's
Mm-hmm.
got the they're being marketed through Salvia, the manager for Salvia. Um, so I'll make sure they're good to go. Make sure he has the fun time of his lifetime when he gets back. We'll get cracking because weirdly enough, as far as my artistry, is that toward the end of the year, that's when things start getting fucking hectic and crazy and music drops everywhere.
Yeah.
Between the year, beginning of the year, things die down. But I don't know if it's a Halloween fan
Yeah.
of
It's
me
got to.
or it's just
It's the October, man.
that's where everybody starts crunching out Halloween singles left and right. I'm like, I'm all for it.
Yep.
Fucking do it. Drop projects out. Do it.
Yep. So, let's see. You were saying you haven't really heard of any of the local like Northwest wicked
I
shit
haven't,
horrorcore
which
groups.
I haven't. Because I've seen Des. I've talked to Des Loca a couple times. Um, I actually haven't checked his music for a little bit. I need to go to after this podcast. It's been here and there, but mostly as far as artists, not really.
Yeah.
Like it sounds fucked up, but I just try to stay in my own little respect and just do what I do as best I can, and obviously still pay respect, but also not try to get too distinguished or too distracted of everything else going on.
Yeah. Well, you're not the only one. There's been a few people on the show that have said the same thing. It's just they don't want too many voices in their head because they already have so much going on. You know what I
Right,
mean? But and then when you talk to like what they actually listen to, it's
right.
never really local or what's going on. It's like old stuff that really resonates for them. You know, like the
Right.
classics. So I get it.
Well, it's always funny because whenever I have people ever say, "Hey, so what do you listen to as far as horrorcore?" I'm like, honestly, I don't listen to a lot of horrorcore. Like, I'm mostly just listen to opera music. Um, Most stuff at that major. Oligarchy Withers, my homie that recorded his album through Greenlight Studios, fucking awesome guy. His is more melodic classic rock. Want to see more experimental, but mine's kind of like I love horrorcore. That's where my body and my mind is, but I also spend most of my time some other genres to get more respect toward it.
Yeah.
That's when I can actually come fresh to it because I don't know. It's just one of those things. I don't get my best creative ideas by listening to other artists. I just put myself in a room, watch some movies. I just daydream or dream at nighttime. I lucid dream. Keep a freaking pen by my side, write my notes down, even though they're kind of gibberish or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just try to keep myself isolated. That
No,
way, creativity stays honed in.
that's great, man. And I think it's cool when I talk to artists like that, and they're like, I don't listen to much horrorcore, but I do listen to all this other stuff and watch all this other stuff. That's, some people don't even watch horror and they write horrorcore, and it's like
Oh yeah,
those are the people that I'm really interested. Like Mars is one example of someone that doesn't watch horror movies. He doesn't watch them. He doesn't really care about them too much. Um, he thinks like the scene is cool, and like if someone asked him to be in a horror movie, I'm sure he'd do it. But like
right.
that's just like not where he draws his influence from. He draws his influence from uh, documentaries, true crime stuff,
I can see that.
real life murders that have happened in his city. So, and then Scum is kind of the same, actually. Just the Russian instead of Bay Area
Right.
version. So, yeah, I think that is cool when people have an alternative answer rather than just horrorcore artists and stuff. But
Right.
also, if it's cool when it's people that I could talk horrorcore with, because I could do that for hours and hours.
Right.
So, who designs all your artwork?
Right now it's actually funny because I asked that like 3 times, so I have to go ahead and get the same answer every time. So currently 5 milligrams is my go-to for everything. Did the bomber jacket design, he did the pre-order for Night Stalker. No, Richard Ramirez. He did the graphic for that one. He's well right here. That's the homie. That's the one who did pretty much most
That's
of my
dope,
artwork.
dude.
He's my guy.
And
Um,
that's what I was saying online to you the other day. I was like, it reminds me of the Ed Repka style that Megadeth went
right.
with,
Heck yeah.
but it's
Well,
not like overly derivative of that. Like it's its
well,
own thing.
Well, I asked him for the cover for Air because he's used to doing different styles. I'm like, dude, so I want this to be Renaissance themed and have more of an acrylic slash oil-based painting texture look. He's like, I haven't done that in a very long time. I was like, well, you need to because this is going to be a old vintage cover art. And most of the stuff I've given him, he's knocked out quickly. And if I send him some stuff that takes him a little bit of time, he takes his time with it and enjoys the process of it. We had Butterface Creations. He did Why Can't I? I had the Sweet Relief cover was done by Toxic Vomit Artwork. I think he is pretty much liquidated. I don't know if he's still around. I haven't seen him for a while. Shouts out if you're watching this. Good seeing you. Hopefully hit me up. Um, but yeah, that was mostly right now. I'm just stick with 5 milligrams because I feel comfortable with him and he knows my style. And
That's dope.
he has the artwork as far as idea. We've already brainstormed different singles, next project, and the LP. And he gets the character as far as Lyrizone having a certain satiric value to it, but also just some fucking evil shit.
Hmm.
Like we had to like do some research for it. Like he loved the fact I had to send him like a whole a whole document of like certain stuff I found for it, like the Dark Age coin. Because when he sent me the original design for it, I was like, dude, we need to make the coin a little more like less rounder because they didn't have an actual press back in the day. They had to actually shape the coin by hand, so it had
Mm.
the bumps. But yeah, he's just like fucking awesome. So yeah, 5 milligrams. If you guys get a chance, he's on Facebook, Instagram as well. They do literally everything over there. Album artwork, T-shirt designs,
That's
uh,
awesome.
all that stuff. You name it, he can do it.
Nice. Be cool to like have him design a tattoo or something. Also,
Oh, dude, I've been kind of like wondering for that because I everybody has like this is gonna be funny because I'm gonna want to have it myself. But everybody has their own artist name tattooed on their body. But I want to have a certain type of one where I have my actual like because no one really sees my natural face unless I like you. Then you see my natural face. But I try to hide as much as I can to keep the mystique going. But I'm thinking about having like a certain one on my arm where it has like my main goal was at the Lyrizone, but each letter has a different time period of the character going through. So it's more continuity.
I think you should get a portrait of your like real face on you.
It's like, hey,
And like, this is what I really look like.
yeah, especially from like a drunk or completely done. It's like, hey, see your face? I'm like, yeah.
Did
It's
it like
like,
Steve-O did that right on his back?
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh God, I forgot about that, dude. Steve-O has gotten so much better though.
yeah,
Like his new podcast about that.
yeah.
I think I saw
He's
one.
all wholesome now.
Oh,
He's
dude.
got a cool podcast.
Oh, dude. He went through some shit, man. More
Yeah.
props to him, man. Like,
Oh yeah. Oh
shit's
yes.
crazy.
Steve-O's the man. I'll have him on the show sometime. He's horrorcore as fuck. You see him light his hair on fire at the gathering?
No, you need to have what's that guy's name? Oh my God, the guy who used to do the this is for all the juggalos and juggalettes. What the fuck's his name? He does like usually the cartwheel onto like the fucking barbed wire and shit, and he used that.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, he does like the
Yeah,
viral videos where he gets
yeah.
hurt and stuff. Damn.
Yo, please put him on. I will be in the chat box. I'll be saying some shit.
Hey,
Like, hey, yo,
if anyone knows that guy and can get me the connect, I'll have him on for sure.
fuck yeah.
Maybe 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 he'll do a stunt for me. That'd be
Dude,
hilarious.
dude, don't even knock it. Put the camera back. Dude, kind of fell flipping. He's like, oh shit, TikTok moment. But yeah, dude, that's funny as fuck.
Oh yeah. So
Hopefully.
you're also you have a Twitch channel. You do horror gaming.
Yes, sir.
You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes. So I actually have a, if you go to my YouTube, Lyrizone, Lyrizone, or use the thing behind me, you spell it out. Or the shirt, whatever, picture fancy. Essentially, I have a gaming channel to where I also periodically do video games for stuff I find on Game Jolt, Steam, whatever. I find new film games and I play them out, whether it be Dead by Daylight. The new Leatherface game came out. I played that too as well. Or it'll be just indie games where I'll reach out to certain developers, say, hey man, so I have a couple of friends over at Horoscope Magazine. It's like they have a developer section and you drop your stuff in there and I'll ask for approval to play it and then I'll ask to record and make sure there's no like NDAs or anything. And I'll do a gameplay of it, do a review, and try to help as much as I can because I mean, even being a small time engineer or musician right now, I'll do what I can to help the little guy because why not?
Yeah, dude.
And it's like it's because you don't know tomorrow. You don't know if they'll pick up and they'll be picked up by a huge major company and then be completely out of your freaking eyes. You want to make sure you prep them and help them out. Um, but right now, that's been pretty much my focus is doing different games. I actually have also Horror Short Saturday, which I'm picking up this month because it's been weird as far as the computer. It's been getting kind of weird as far as my record, and I'll like stop halfway, and I'm like, no, no, that was a really good reaction. What happened? So now
Ugh.
we're going back to doing Horror Short Saturday, which is when I go through YouTube, which usually Alter is one of the main ones I go to because they essentially hire on different people and they do different short films. Um, and we'll essentially watch a short film together, dissect it. What's up? Hope the mask doesn't scare him. I'll take the mask off for
Oh
this
no, he
one
loves
case.
scary stuff.
Cool, cool. I was like, oh, this would be the only time I take the mask off. So, okay.
See, look at him. He's smiling.
But yeah, the horror short Saturday is when I pretty much like take in small short films, break them down between the storyline, what I liked, what I didn't like. Um, but yes, back to this same thing with the gaming thing is I do little things that kind of like give back to the community because I mean we are a very very tight niche community. Unfortunately, certain respects that don't respect horror, and I tell them go bite one. And it's just my love of passion is to be completely surrounded by it. So usually when I do go on social media, I try to focus on stuff I like that. And then if I don't see any horror films, don't play any games, then I go into the other side of the coin, listen to different opera music, different artists I see, and then I go from that. But that's generally the only time I ever really like involve myself in horror,
That's cool.
besides music.
That's awesome, man. Um, yeah, I love horror games. I always buy whatever new horror game comes out. Like I got the new Evil Dead game. I got
What'd you think? Did you like that?
yeah, yeah, it's awesome. It's I mean, I can see why it gets kind of like boring after a while because it's like you're doing the same thing over and over again. But
Right.
if you have a cool team or whatever, it's cool to jump in once in a while. I still like the Friday the 13th game. I still play that from time to time. I still play Dead by Daylight once in a while.
What consoles do you have by chance?
I play Xbox and PC, mainly PC though. I prefer battle royale games like Fortnite, PUBG. I like survival games too a lot, like Daisy.
Are you a big fan of Fatal Frame and Clockwork and Clock
Yeah,
Tower?
I used to play those when I was younger. Yeah,
I still have them, dude.
yeah, hell yeah.
Oh, that's because I've been playing that for a long time. It's like especially with the big cities, I'm like, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. Have to
I
hide
think
and shit.
I had Clock Tower too. I had that
Okay.
on PlayStation, and that was awesome. It was
Yeah, talking about the remaster. Yeah, it's so good,
the
but oh
controls
man.
were so bad though. Like,
Dude, don't get me started. I used to get so upset. I was like, hide, hide, hide.
yeah, yeah. It's
You just stand
basically a
there.
point and click game, but disguised as a side scroller.
Right.
So it's frustrating, but once you get used to it, I don't know. It's kind of more one of those games like I don't know. That's the problem with a lot of retro games in like 2022. They're almost more fun to watch someone else play than like go through
Right.
all the trouble of like figuring out how to install it, then patch all the bugs out, and then
Oh
like
yeah.
add a mod that makes the game work, and then like you actually start playing it, and you're like, this is very rudimentary, and it is not quite holding my interest. No
Right.
wonder this is old. I don't know.
Heck yeah, man. It's just certain ones that, especially like the old Resident Evil game, like the original, like first one,
Mhm.
Director's Cut is my favorite one.
Oh, that's great.
Um,
Yeah.
the Resident Evil series has been good. Silent Hill, looking forward to the new one. Supposed to be talk of a new one,
New one?
hopefully. Yep.
When did,
They
when did
abandoned
they when did that
not
come
the
out?
P not the PT, not the one they Dutched because they couldn't get Daryl to sign a
Yeah.
contract, but that should be more in pro. They're actually doing the beta right now. Um, but it's supposed to be like put out for like years and years because they
Is it going to be a
can't find
first
that person.
person or a third person?
First person.
I for Silent Hill though, man, I just keep it third person. Like it worked with Resident Evil though, so maybe.
We'll see, man. Because like I said, I'm always open to different areas and different things that change up. But I'm also a very, very old man when it comes to certain things that I don't like. So, but yeah, the horror games I definitely enjoy. I'm still playing Dead by Daylight, even though it's very, very hard to be the killer because everyone wants to be the killer these days.
Hmm.
So you had to be the person running around and try to hide. I'm like,
I
okay, well,
always get stuck as the killer. It seems like I don't know.
I get the opposite. I never get a chance. The only time I got to be the killer, ironically, was on my last gameplay, and I had a really good guy. I had the pyramid head guy. I was like, okay, cool. Got my effect, laid the thing down. It was a cool timing because you get to lay the spikes down and hit like 4 or 5 people. I was like, yes, instant kill, and my thing glitched and then clicked me out. I'm like,
Uh
really, really, that would have been a great segment. I would have held that for my memories. It's gone.
and you're playing on PC or
PC.
okay. Huh.
Which is on the Steam. You can pretty much find me on Lyrizone Gaming on Steam and send me a friend request, and we'll play the games together.
Sweet.
Oh yeah,
I'll have to add you sometime.
oh yeah,
Hell yeah. And then you have a couple people that have sponsored your streams, right?
yes sir.
Or
We have
companies.
a couple, yeah, people, companies, tomatoes,
Yeah.
entities. We have Gamerware, which was the follow up to my partnership with Swift Lifestyle. Swift Lifestyles is more the nutrition slash drink, get yourself going, keep yourself from falling asleep on the camera, which we did a video slash promotion for them
That was
about a
funny,
month
man.
ago.
I
Yeah,
like that.
dude, I love the House of Wax shirt. I got that from what is it called? Cult Clothing from UK.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I had to get the Chucky sleeve, all that stuff, everything. And I was like, yes, I need it. Especially Pinhead. Like, I had to get the actual Hellraiser shirt too. I was like, yes, I need it. But I just stocked up on it, did a short film once like it or a commercial. I was like, I really like this brand because it's so good. And I just, it's funny because as you were drinking, I don't know how to tell you how disgusting the shirt was toward the end of the night because the
Yeah.
stuff just I fell asleep because I was a couple drinks in and I forgot I actually fell asleep. I woke up, dude. I had Smurf nipples. Like the shit was completely blue. I was
So
like,
you were mixing
oh,
that shit with alcohol?
pretty much.
How fucking jacked up were you by the end of the night?
Dude, almost. It was like four loco stats. It was fucked.
Because that's just like I was looking at. I don't know about Swift, but I looked at.
Yeah.
I was looking at some like
G Fuel.
G Fuel, yeah, and it was like
Yeah.
300
Oh,
milligrams of
dude.
caffeine in it, and I'm like, damn, dude.
Yeah. That's what it says. No sugar. It's like They're sugar in it though. But yeah, it had me rolling, dude. I woke up and I was like, the fuck, it Smurf cum shot on my chest. What the fuck happened? What happened? Ah, yeah. I started like scrubbing and scrubbing, and then it finally got off. I was like, okay, cool, never again. But then watched the commercial. I was like, keep thinking short film. I don't know why. Maybe sooner or later. But the commercial, I was like, that's funny. But damn, that sucked.
That'd be funny if it was like that movie Clown, but like your mask got stuck to your face, like when you woke up.
Dude, I can imagine that the Mask 2.0, like Lyrizone's like, can't get this thing off. Ah! I can see that shit happening. But dude, it was a great company. They're more of the drinks. You get the shakers with them. Well, Gamerware is more of, hey, the Lyrizone gaming logo with their logo. I wear that stuff when I'm doing actual gaming. Um, and as far as music, which is this is fun about the branding, is that I found ways to get stuff into it and then out. Is that right now I have between that's the gaming is on lock, the music and all that stuff. I also reached out to Liquid Death for a partnership for the music, and they're not doing any currently. But I said later on check with them, which later on as the discography gets bigger, they'll see me. But then I have Dirtbag Clothing, which is pretty much everything I wear when I do shows, gatherings, say social events with Lyrizone, because that's gonna be the partnership. Um, so I pretty much like work with them side by side. And I think the next thing I'm gonna do is probably have like a beverage company I reach out to. Um, I think we had Slasher for a minute, then Slasher, the energy drink. I think they went back to the drawing board as far as what they're doing. But that's my next thing is actually find a beverage slash like I guess energy drink company or whatever. So whenever I'm doing shows, I can have that with the bottle of hot sauce out to St. Pete hot sauce company. So we have the hot sauce and the drink, and we can just pair them together. But
Hell
yeah,
yeah. Hell yeah.
but yeah, dude, it's all about the marketing and finding small businesses and networking and
Oh,
do what you can
you're
to.
gonna have a cool ass merch table when you play your first show.
Oh, dude, you should see stuff right now. Like I got enough to pretty much lock myself in for a little bit because I think the only thing I'm missing right now is probably a fucking pizza bar or who knows. We can even put that for the Country Carving Diner. I'll have Hunter come through and say, "Hey, man, make some sloppy joes fresh, haha," and then let's go from there. But yeah,
Yeah.
man, it's that's the one thing though, is even with the merch table stuff, like going to the shows and seeing peers and watching how they do things, it's inspiring because I know eventually, as far as the artistry, I'll have to hire someone who wants to be for Leader Zone and be the guitarist because I could do all of it, but I don't know. I probably can't do all of it, but if I tried, you can only do so much like Neil Young type shit before
Mm.
you're done. Um, but that's my goal is just to get my stuff as far as business locked down, and then I can start going toward the creative level and seeing who else can bring into it because you're only as strong as your weakest link. And I want to make sure everything is creased together. That way, when someone comes aboard, they feel fully confident that things were good when they got there, and it's not a complete rebuild.
Yeah. Hey, man. People can tell you keep it professional. You definitely give off that aesthetic.
I'm
So
trying, dude.
yeah,
I'm trying.
no worries. Um. So yeah. Any releases coming soon?
Yes. We got the Air, which is a song which you're gonna keep on seeing TikTok behind the scenes of it.
Would that be
We
the one you
did,
sent me a little snippet of?
yes, sir.
Shit was
Um,
slapping, man.
oh, dude, like that's it's the funny things when you're mentioning the hip hop and the rock. If I'm going back to hip hop, I want to stay with just metal because I feel like that's the hip hop side you could do a lot with. But I feel like I have a lot more variety with metal for myself for some reason. Like I don't know if it's more of just the like the cadence style, I get the switch up with double pedal. I don't know if it's the drums. I don't know if it's the guitar, actual rhythm switching. I don't know if it's just the interludes. I can do more frequent interludes, but I just prefer the metal side. So Air's gonna be the next song. We're gonna do a music video for that one too, which you guys are gonna love this one because we're actually gonna do two versions. One's gonna be a lyric video, which it's gonna be easier for people who don't want to like look at the description and see what I'm saying. Because it is a pretty fast-paced track, so there will be some words lost in context. Trust me, I
That's
understand.
that's cool, man. Because sometimes, yeah, there's a lot going on in your music, and it's kind of like I have to listen to multiple times to kind of pick up on what you're saying.
Oh yeah, especially when I make it times where I have to actually double time with the drums. So you go you
Yeah.
go so much before you get lost. And then we have the animation video, which is gonna be the perspective, which if you guys see the cover to Air, you're gonna see it on Instagram, which I have an animation playing with the music playing. You're actually gonna see the perspective of Lyrizone being stared at as someone walk up to the table and reading tarot cards. Um, I'm also trying to do a release for Halloween. Depends on what time Josh gets back if we can get this thing knocked out because I don't want to half-ass this release on Air. Want to make sure it's not like, hey, it's 1 week, it's done, and then next song. Um, but I also want to get one more. We got a cipher coming, which Ill Fortune's part of it. It's gonna be a huge cipher. That's gonna be definitely done this year.
How many people?
I think we're right now we're reaching out to five. Me and him, I've already have to get my thing recorded and be done. Like it's disclosing to you, he fine either way. Essentially, each artist has a certain serial killer we have to mimic, but it has to be kind of a parody.
Hmm.
Where mine's like a retired mob boss slash snuff film.
Oh, that's
What was I
dope.
doing this shit? Cell phone? So, but yeah, it was a more of a snuff film recorder, and then how his transition to Maniac or Mania came, and then each person has their own distinctive character,
That's
which
cool.
was pretty fun because I had to do a little more research of how this happened. I had to watch a lot of documentaries, which was a clusterfuck, but it was fun. But then I
What
have that
killer is
one.
that based on?
Uh, it's actually not even a basic, but it's be called Don Flicks, but there's actually no killer so far. I have found anybody that even close to the only thing I found close to the actual like routine action was the ice pick killer, and
The
that's
Iceman?
Iceman.
Yeah.
Ice pick wasn't there ice pick killer too? That was more
Richard Kuklinski. You're talking about, right?
okay. Yeah, because Iceman. Thank you. Iceman was the one that was the more the hitman killer, but then
Hitman that
yeah,
would put people in the freezers.
yeah, he was fucked, man.
Yeah, but I heard recently that a lot of those confessions were bullshit. Where he
Oh,
was
so he
just
was
like,
just
I
full of
just
cap.
walked up to kill somebody just to see what would happen. Just all that shit was fake.
Uh,
He killed a bunch of people, but not the numbers that he was saying. And he wasn't the, he wasn't like, he had a lot of stories where he was like doing it almost like a killer would in a movie, like testing new ways to kill my victims and stuff. And it's
right.
like a lot of that just seemed like kind of over the
It's
top.
well, it's really funny because we'll go into this venture real quick, then we'll go back to movies. But you ever notice that as far as serial killers itself, is that the ones that are very, very descriptive and almost flamboyant with it and had like sporadic nature, those ones you kind of think that, oh, they're full of cap. Because like even if we go toward like Jeffrey Dahmer, where he openly said that he knew his parents were pissed off at it and that he didn't nothing they did wrong to him and it just came natural and the fucking way happened. Like very, very quiet natured
Hmm.
ones. But the ones that especially now, like horror films are a huge thing now, documentaries. Um, it's almost like they're proud, like over apex
Yeah.
prayer type shit. I'm like,
It's usually the ones that write the
yeah,
books that are the
yeah,
ones that tell the most lies. So,
right,
yeah.
right.
It's the
That's
ones
when you get a
that,
little
yeah, they do the interviews, the ones that put themselves out there.
right.
They'll
The ones
do
that are
anything, you know?
always watch the quiet ones.
Yeah.
Always the quiet ones. Watch
Yeah,
those.
for sure.
But yeah, dude. But that's kind of like the as far as the singles. Um, but yeah, I've just been just focusing on getting the sound and just purifying as much as I can because once I have the idea of what I want to do as far as the actual Lyrizone, then I can just go from song to song and song and just keep going. Because it's
Mm-hmm.
a story that never stays the same. So that would give me more opportunities to work with like acts and stuff like that. So they're really known for their storytelling too.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well, it's kind of like goes back to old metal. You had
right,
Eddie from Iron Maiden was always, you know, he was in the pyramids, and then next you'd see
right,
him in like the Civil War, and then you'd see him like,
right.
you know, he like just all over time. And
Which those album covers, some people like shit on them, but I think those like kind of one of the most like staples of the actual sound itself. Because I mean, if things change, but you had one ideal like character that changed throughout
mm-hmm.
time, it just like made that impression. And
Yeah,
rather than just having a random pyramid with just like some Iron Maiden font and stuff, I'm like,
same with
no.
Vic Rattlehead from Megadeth. With that
Oh yeah,
he kind of was put in all kinds of different, I don't know, that all kinds of artists, that Blind Guardian, Iced Earth, like lots of different artists did like that, like changing settings and times and stuff. Like I think it was Iced Earth had a whole album that was like a Revolutionary War or something like that. It was,
damn.
and then they had a Spawn album. It was just like there's no limits, you know.
Well, that's the creativity, man. As
Yeah.
long as you keep things fresh, especially now with there's so much high content and so much need for high demand, like you have to constantly push things out, which that's my main, I guess, perfection and flaw is that I make sure my singles stand test time, regardless if they sound good to somebody, sound good to me. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
happy with my track at the end of the day. Where now they tell you want to release like 5 to 10 songs a day. I'm like, how the fuck did you release 5 to 10 songs? Let's be honest here. Okay, you have 24 hours in a day. Of course, you have to mix and master. I don't know if you have my computer, but it's take a lot longer than an hour to 2 hours to render the song out. So yeah. So it's just about quality over quantity, which I believe right now I hear a lot as far as the quality getting better. Because for the longest time, that was my main issue as far as horrorcore is that no one was really putting time to the recordings. They were just trying to push them out to top the next guy. And it's like if you're put as much your passion into it and your love of the craft and you take your time with it, then fuck the next guy. People are gonna love your stuff regardless
Yep.
because real shit stands the test of time, and that's been especially now since we're talking about Eddie Van Halen and stuff like that. Like that's the reason why they'll stand the test of time. That's the reason why Kiss will stand the test of time, even though without the makeup that was a totally different Kiss. But still, anyway.
Also, Gene Simmons has
Oh,
has done some interesting things over the last few years.
oh, dude, yeah. My dad liked Gene Simmons. I just didn't.
You just got to separate the artist from the art when it comes to someone like that, I guess.
I tried, but I also know that like my dad showed me a lot of Kiss albums. Like, what was it Love Gun was the first CD he gave me.
That's
It
good.
was okay.
I love that song.
Almost Human. And I was like, okay, Gene Simmons, okay. And then like go from like Beth to like was the last one with Ace Frehley. Then they had one where Ace Frehley just did an album by himself, right?
Yeah.
Ace Frehley was a star guy, right? I'm assuming with Star on his
I
eye.
don't. I'm not
Okay.
the biggest Kiss fan in the world,
Okay.
but yeah.
But yeah,
Uh,
that's
yeah.
probably the hair metal band you're talking about before.
Yeah, I was more into the extreme metal, honestly, like the Cradle of Filth and Brujeria and just like anything that was like basically the horrorcore version of
Cannibal
metal.
Corpse,
Yeah, I like
maybe?
Cannibal Corpse, Guar, anything that was like horrorcore but metal.
Right.
And that's kind of
Right.
what got me into horrorcore. Honestly, was I was looking for what was in metal, what I was looking for in horrorcore. Once I found horrorcore, I was like, I still love metal, but I think I found what I was
Same.
looking for. So I think
Same.
you kind of did the reverse of me, is you found what you were looking for in metal. You're
It's
like,
really funny though, because most people I actually hear as far as horrorcore, they have a love and hate relationship with rock. Like I know Dean, Everything and Nothing has pretty much ideal kind of the same route as far as mentality that I do. But there's either people who love the metal side of horrorcore and the people who don't like it. Like I'll have fans that say, "Hey, I mean, I love the Sweet Relief album. I love the hip hop. Can you go back to that?" I'm like, unfortunately, no. But I'll tell you that if you like the lyrics, the song can get better because I mean, if you love the lyrics, all you're doing is taking the backing track of the rock and putting hip hop to there. So just listen to the lyrics and you'll fit in. Um,
yeah,
but
but
yeah, it's
you'll
just
always like stick to the horrorcore
always,
sound though. So
always
that's the cool thing about it, is like people will always know that the horror and rap will be infused into your music, no matter how
right,
metal it gets.
right. Because I always try to do my research things too. That's one thing that for every song I try, I make sure is I pay homage to my craft,
Yeah.
and that's where I spend most of my time actually learning stuff. Like when we're doing the system track. I had to actually figure out how the recording goes as far as the operation table, like certain stuff like that, because I didn't want to fuck up on the first 10 seconds of the song. If it doesn't sound correct, then people are like, okay, that's complete trash. Turn it off. But
Hmm.
then also I had to make sure like the process of like a surgeon, optic nerve surgery, yada yada. But I mean, it's my due diligence as an artist and MC to make sure that what I'm saying is factual and try to make sure that I'm staying as close to horror without going outside the line of, hey, this is just something to make me feel edgy. Like, no,
Hmm.
I try to also look at those like Scum, who is very, very, very gritty and also very, very like impactful with his shit. Like,
Hmm.
that's like some fuck people up type shit, but
Yeah.
I want to make sure that I have the best of both worlds where I have the more, hey, this is more hearing different sounds you hear more in theater. I don't know,
Yeah.
as far as like plugins, there's a one we've been using as far as like, I think it's called Damage, where you hear like the more bass sounds like when you're listening to a movie and you hear that like very loud rumble.
Hmm.
That's what we started using too. Um, just realized my mask is like halfway up, so you're like seeing directly in my eyes. It looks weird. I apologize. But anyway,
It's all good.
uh, but yeah, just the creativity. So I love the horror itself because I mean, it's the only genre I get to be this experimental and
Hmm.
also have fun. I don't think any other genre would actually fit Lyrizone, especially for content. But still, don't think like, especially right now, country is turning to pop. Like you cannot debate me on that because I know there's no country is now pop. Like if
Sure.
you want to listen to country, go Conway Twitty or Toby Keith or Garth Brooks or whatever.
Yeah, but come on, man. A Lyrizone country song, that would be awesome and hilarious.
Okay, well, you know what? After this show,
If it was like tongue in cheek, you know what I'm saying?
yeah. Well, we had Ritz who did one. I don't know if you know Ritz, right? He was with
Yeah.
Trans Music. He did country songs. So how about this? If you have anybody in the comments that says Lyrizone, make a country song. If you give me at least 50, I'll attempt it. How about that?
Oh, man.
If not, that's not gonna happen.
You got to have like a piece of straw hanging out your mask.
Oh, it's my
Farmer
mask,
hat.
Mason. I'll get the
Awesome.
Southern draw for you too. I'll make sure I have it. Hey y'all, come on.
So, any shout outs before we close this out?
Yes, sir. The Underground Australia, Ned.
Hell yeah.
Shout out to you, my homie, for
Shout
putting
out
me
to
on
Ned.
here. Thank you so much. Thank you for me on here.
I listened to that show,
5
by
milligrams.
the way.
Oh yeah.
That's a good show.
That's my go-to for last as far as like artists like I haven't heard from for a long time. Like why I actually had the magazine with Underground Nation. It had
Yeah.
Static X there. I was like, Static X, yeah. And so
And Fear
I,
Factory they have on there
oh
and
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy. My boy Nomadic, Sleep Lyrical. We have like a huge freaking line. My boy Danny from Hot Sauce, St. Pete's Hot Sauce. Um, everyone who's watching, shout out to you guys for being nice enough to watch this episode and deal with this weird looking guy.
Yeah. Thanks
But
for
yeah,
watching.
thanks everybody, and thank you for having me on this thing. I appreciate it.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Thanks so much. And I'm going to keep an eye out for your new music. That's like that track you sent me. Like, I just got to tell our listeners the stuff he has coming out on the horizon is like next level. Fucking great. I mean, it's a lot. The closest I would say maybe like Intrinsic or something. Like for how big that music sounds. But yeah, hell yeah, dude. I can't wait for it.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, cool. Well, have a great night.
You too.
To a nightmare fam, all the organs fitting the puzzle from the last dead man. Repulsive in every aspect, but listen, I'm friendly. I promise only do harm if the doctor says me. That's the ending, right to the point. No need to lie to you. I commit and follow suit and do the dirt like I'm commanded to. What else am I to do? He's fucking waking the dead. Got nowhere to hide, so I'ma stay where I'm fed. Fact, and if conditions are rare, you'll be like me in a chair, staring at him, hold so good thing my vision's impaired. Cause I would rather be the product than the people I wear. Some people hate the deformities, I collect them and pierce. Trade the cuts and the burns that you get from the damage. No signs of abuse from a world that's abandoned. Oh, the weak can be a neat click. Though where you get those eyes, Jeepers creepers, I need that shit. Welcome here and everybody to be used within the system. Try to become at the first sight of a vision. What you think naturally is your final decision. Accept or die. Rebirths inside are and holding your methods will guide you for what is down below. Speak what we don't see, but what is down below is a path that we don't need. But what is down below is a home for you and me. Hey, thanks, Doc. I just had to put those odds in. You know just how I get when I fixate on the right. And sense is heightened, grip is tightened. Even kept the whole body on ice for the driving. Look, what's next? Another client is dying from the same old shit like they're prescribed to be following. Funny ain't for validation from the guy that's behind it. Yet they judge everyone else like they ain't funded at times. Slow it down, look. I'm being all check the rap literally. I'm talking twisted, so my logical side is been killing me. Response to the pain inflicted from the world around me. Took me a nice trip, buried my answer, found me an outlet. Then for horrorcore, check out my swagger when I'm out, bitch. Black leather jacket like some 80s slasher outfit. Voices different when it travels to the ether. When my instincts is glow, I'm gon' reach for your speaker. Welcome here and everybody to be used within the system. Try to become at the first sight of a vision. What you think naturally is your final decision. Accept or die. Rebirths inside are and holding your methods will guide you for what is down below. Speak what we don't see, but what is down below is a path that we don't need. But what is down below is a home for you and me.